What comes included in the box is, as we've seen with all HIS cards recently, is this sort of package folder which includes the installation CD with drivers. You also get the multi-language quick installation guide, a HIS Power Up label or case badge sticker, and a little bit of information on Kingdom of Gamer. You also get a Crossfire bridge included, a DVI to VGA adapter, and also 2 Molexes to 6-pin PCI Express adapters. Taking a look at the overall size of this card, straight away you can see it is absolutely huge. Just putting my hand on top of it, you can see in comparison exactly how large it is, and it is actually larger than the GTX 580 from Nvidia. You can see that the overall design is based on a sort of reference design, as AMD and HIS have done for quite some time now, and just sort of a HIS stickered label over the top of it. You can see that it takes up 2 expansion slots in the case, which generally is the norm these days, and it has got the HIS branded fan over here. Generally, it being a larger card, we do go by the sort of sense of you know, the bigger it is, the more performance it has, so we are expecting some really good results from this. Now, taking a look at the underneath of the card, we would normally see sort of a PCB being exposed, but AMD and HIS have done something a little bit differently with this. Now we can actually see this sort of plastic backing, and the only guess that we've really got for this is to help in aiding the cooling solution. We can see that there is a HIS barcode sticker here with a serial number, which is always handy for RMA purposes, and we can see where the X-clamp bracket is on this side. As we have spoke about, the heatsink does take up sort of 2 expansion slots in your case, so it is nice and level with the rest of the card. The heatsink actually follows from the rear of the card all the way to the front of the card and is made out of plastic. We can see that the fan design is something that we have seen in the past with regards to a sort of different style of fan. Normally you'd see sort of fins slatted in there. This has actually got thins round the side of the fan, which will help dissipate heat right out the back of the graphics card and be exhausted out the back expansion slot. Specification wise, we would normally sort of talk about the specifications and tell you exactly what the core clock speed is, memory speed and so forth, but if you actually head over to etechnics.com you can read up on the full specifications of this card. But we will tell you that it has got all of the latest features that AMD have invested in their graphics cards, including full DirectX 11 support, advanced parallel processing technology, and much more. And you can find out a lot more information on this card, the main features and specifications, all in our written review at etechnics.com. This card uses the PCI Express 2.1 bus interface and is of course backwards compatible with earlier revisions of the favoured connection. A lot of consumers were quite disappointed with the 6800 series graphics cards because of the lack of ability for multiple graphics cards. Obviously you could crossfire them in a 2-way configuration, but that was it. This card however has 2 crossfire headers, so you can actually have more than 2-way graphics configurations. You can have 3-way or 4-way. Now there is one other feature that this card has got which there has been a lot of hype about on the internet, and it's this little switch just over here. A lot of people thought this was to enable crossfire, or it could have been to lower the speed of the graphics card. Lots of different theories going out there and bouncing around before the actual launch of this graphics card. But just to tell you that this switch is actually for switching BIOSes. There are 2 BIOSes registered on this graphics card. One cannot be changed at all, and it is your default BIOS, but one you can flash, upgrade and change in any way that you want. But if it does go wrong, you can always flick the switch back and go back to the default BIOS. Ever since the 5700 series launch of graphics cards from AMD, they have been very hot on reducing the amount of power draw that they actually use whilst still maintaining fantastic performance, and this card is no different. You can actually go into the Amd Catalyst Software and you can actually lower the TDP that this card uses up to 20%, or you can increase it up to 20% as well. So it's entirely up to you on if you're overclocking the card or using it as stock as to how much power draw it actually uses. And because of that, it does only require 2 6-pin PCI Express connectors. As we expect with all graphics cards now, especially ones that are sort of based on a reference kind of design, they are going to take up 2 expansion slots in your case, and that is nothing out of the ordinary these days. Obviously a lot of graphics card manufacturers are trying to still squeeze the same amount of performance but making them into single slot cards, but there has only been a few, one from XFX and one from Galaxy and KFA2. This card however does use the 2 expansion slot design, and there is a very good reason. Firstly, for the ventilation ports so that heat can be exhausted out the back of your case, and secondly for the mass amount of connectors. We have 2 DVI ports, a HDMI port and 2 mini display ports, and with the mini display ports you can actually get mini display port hubs so that you can use this graphics card in a 6 display configuration using AMD Eyefinity.